Today we're going to be walking in the footsteps of Hannibal Barca. We are headed to the small pueblo and castle known as Xativa, or the castle of Xativa. This is where Hannibal Barca planned his siege of the city of Saguntum, which started the Second Punic Wars. It's also a town that Napoleonic troops went through and that two Borgia popes were born in. So a town with a ton of history. We're going to go explore the pueblo and, more importantly, explore the castle and show you all of the cool sights to see there. Alright, so we're finally on the train to Xativa after a little bit of confusion and a little bit of panic at the train station. These things happen. So now we're on the train, Brendan and I.
Hola, yeah, we're heading out to Xativa. It's going to be a hot day out, 97 degrees. I'm dressed for it. Should be a fun time to see where Hannibal used to, or where he walked through the gate of Hannibal before preparing his army to, what, for the Second Punic War? Or?
Second Punic War, yeah.
There we go. He's a great guy. It'll be interesting to see where he walked.
97 degrees in the Spanish sun with like 85% humidity, I want to say. So it's going to be a hot one. We're going to be sweating. We packed water. And we've made it to Xativa, the city at least, not the castle yet. We are walking the streets of Xativa now on our way up to the castle. It's about a 40-minute hike up there, and it's a beautiful town. Yeah. It's a beautiful town, Xativa. It's actually very well kept and pretty big for a pueblo. And I can see cliffs in the distance where the castle must be on top of, so it's going to be quite a hike for us. I think it's safe to say that we have a long, steep hike ahead of us up to this castle, but as Brendan was just saying, imagine being an attacking army trying to get up those hills to attack that castle, or the people constructing the castle itself, carrying all those blocks up there. It must have been an impossible task. So let's start our trek up the mountain. Of course, the journey to the castle wasn't a straight line, and along the way, we often became distracted by novel sights. We have here an olive tree, and Brendan's about to demonstrate.
Here I'm about to have my first natural olive. Enough of this fake stuff I've been buying at the supermarket.
How to pick a fresh olive.
It's delicious.
Delicious?
Yeah.
Pit and all, you ate it?
Yeah, I ate the whole thing.
Pit helps with the digestion, right?
Yeah, it clears me out. I'll be clean as a whistle.
All right, that's the goal. After some brief confusion with the path, we think we have found the correct road this time. Take a look at it. Line's all the way up there. I feel like we are explorers of old. We just found some kind of old ruined church back here behind me, with old pillars that look like they're from Islamic times or Roman times, repurposed to build the church. It's getting hot now as the sun rises, and we have only begun our ascent. Alright, we have discovered some sort of Illuminati cave back here. What do you think, Brendan?
Yeah, probably 100,000 years ago you had cave people dwelling in here. Now you've got people building caves and storing food in them. So.
Yeah.
Interesting activity here over the years.
Well, we hit the second of our dead ends on the hike up to the castle. This kind of cave here with iron bars in front of it and flies everywhere that make it seem like something's rotting in this area. So we'll turn back around and find a new way up to the castle. This is probably what any skirmishers or scouters from any army would encounter while trying to explore a castle terrain to try to assault it. Many different paths leading up to the castle, unsure of which ones will lead them there quickest and most securely, and all the while looking out for ambushes from the enemy. We have a lot of those problems, but we don't have to worry about ambushes from the enemy, so that's a good part. Well, we're taking a break in this cave here to have a little lunch break. You can see the cave behind us. It was only later that we would learn that our lunch cave was the Cave of the Lions. And as the name suggests, local legend has it that lions once were kept in this cave, and that a hermit at one point was even thrown into the pit, but the lions refused to touch him. This, of course, was considered a miracle. Good shady spot. Keeps you out of the Spanish sun. Got some homemade sandwiches we prepared. Life is good. Before reaching the top where the castle is located, we spotted some medieval fortifications off the beaten track. Of course, we couldn't resist the opportunity to explore, so we climbed up the wall to see what we could find. We have hopped up into a portion of the castle that I think most people don't make it to. Beautiful views. We finally did it. We reached the top of the castle of Xativa. You see beautiful vistas behind us. And this way, the castle gate. So let's head inside the castle and see what kind of history we can find. See if we can find Hannibal's gate, supposedly the gate that Hannibal entered through, though they say it's been rebuilt in the 1400s, so it's not exactly the same gate, but it's still called Hannibal's gate.
Yeah, and luckily for us, they still have the medieval cafe up here. They've been upkeeping it all these centuries, so
yeah.
We need some refreshments. We have it, although we have our own food, so
maybe we'll pick up some mutton on the way.
Yeah. A little bit of grub.
The upper castle was first built during Roman times, as Xativa is near the Roman road known as Via Augusta. The Via Augusta led from the Pyrenees Mountains all the way to Cadiz in Andalusia in southern Spain, and thus was an important trade route to protect. Of course, these Roman roads also served as routes to swiftly move the famous Roman legions to wherever they were needed in the empire. Alright guys, time to sight the cannons and blow that castle to smithereens. You with me? What do you think,
All right, yeah, I'm ready to blow up this castle. I mean, it's been here for too long, I think. Centuries, that's enough.
Yeah,
blow it down.
Possibly millennia, or at least remnants of it. We are in the upper castle now, and then over here behind me is the lower castle, which we were just blowing up. Beautiful fountain here. And amazing vistas of the Spanish countryside.
Yeah, back in the day, I mean, this thing probably weighs about, you know, as much as a car, and they had to haul these up with big guys like myself, and you know, without me, they couldn't have gotten up here.
Yeah, it's a huge cannon to haul up the mountain with, I mean, I guess it would be horsepower and ox power, maybe some human back power, but this thing is heavy. Look at this. Of course, this would have been from like Napoleonic times or maybe before or after that time, but obviously since gunpowder. And Napoleonic troops were actually here, I believe in Xativa Castle. I mean, I'll confirm that one for you, so make sure I'm not telling any lies. But the Napoleonic troops were all over Spain, and a lot of times when they left certain places that were strategic outposts that they had fought to take, they obviously didn't want them to fall back into Spanish hands, so they would blow them up on the way out. So at Saguntum, Napoleon's general Suchet, or his marshal Suchet, actually blew up, I believe, a Roman tower and the Roman amphitheater there. What strategic significance the amphitheater was, I don't know. That seems like spite to me. But I think the Napoleonic troops may have blown up some things around here too. If I find a flyer that tells us more, I'll let you know. As always, I like to go off the beaten track in castles as much as possible. To these crumbling stones, up onto this crumbling wall. Looking through these holes in the wall. Could have been a cannonball that blasted right through this wall. Napoleonic troops did indeed occupy the Xativa castle under command of Marshal Suchet. True to form, when Suchet was retreating from Xativa in 1812, he ordered the destruction of the castle on his way out. Of course, the French were not the only ones to occupy this castle. The lower castle is the oldest part of the fortress, having been occupied by the Iberian peoples even before Rome. The entire fortress would change hands many times over the years, transitioning from control of the Iberians to the Carthaginians, to the Romans, followed by the Visigoths, and then the Islamic empires of Spain, before being conquered again during the Reconquista and becoming part of the Kingdom of Valencia, which was itself a component kingdom of the Crown of Aragon, then transitioning to French control during the Napoleonic Wars before being taken back by the Spanish. That is a rough list of the powers who have held Xativa over the millennia and is not exhaustive by any means. Like many castles, Xativa has been treated rough over the many years of fighting, as you can see from its many crumbling walls today. Up here, the top of the upper castle, you feel like you're a part of history among all these ruins. It's amazing stuff. Next, we head to the prison, which has held many high-value prisoners over the centuries. This particular prison is known as Presso Fosca, or Dark Prison, since it lets in no natural light. The most prominent prisoner to be held in the cells of Xativa is Juanme de Urgel. Juanme was rejected for the crown of Aragon in 1412, and so led a rebellion that was eventually put down and led to his imprisonment in Xativa. Legend has it that after decades of imprisonment, when he was finally set free, he left the dark cell and walked straight into the brilliance of the Spanish sun, and was promptly struck blind and died. Now, the castle, quite an echo in here, the castle of Xativa has quite a long history, and for part of its history, it was a prison for high-value prisoners. So this right here is the prison that people would have been kept in, as I read somebody put it, to count their days away in these chambers. So we came in through this tiny little door here. Here, Brendan, stand next to the door. Look how tiny it is.
Yeah, I can imagine even if you do manage to escape through the door, you're in such a bad position that they could probably just jab you with a pike or a sword, and you wouldn't be able to really defend yourself or be in a good position to fight back.
Yeah, I imagine it would have had iron gates on it, and it would have been tough to get out of here. It would have been like the Count of Monte Cristo. They would have slid your food in each day, and maybe very little contact with anybody. And your friends would be these walls and the imaginary ones you create out of boredom. Spooky stuff. We are about to climb the final wall, kind of the highest wall of the upper castle, and see what the view looks like up there. Let's go. treacherous steps here. Woo! So if you look over here, you see how high up we are now. Another area down there. And the lower castle is way in the distance down there. And over this way, the city of Xativa. And a bit of a long fall down there. Here's a better view. We're headed down now from the upper castle to the lower castle, which apparently, from what I've read, is where many of the oldest areas of the castle are. That's where Hannibal's Gate is. That's where supposedly the, I guess, more Roman ruins are and things of that nature. So we're gonna head down there now and try to find Hannibal's Gate, and that should be a cool experience.
Let's do it to it.
This gate you see behind me is, as the legend goes, the gate that Hannibal Barca himself first crossed through to get to the fortress of Xativa. It's also the same gateway that, as the legend goes, Scipio Africanus, when he retook the fortress, crossed through to get into Xativa. And the castle here, or the fortress that was here back in Hannibal's day, is where Hannibal planned the conquest and the siege of the city of Saguntum. And Saguntum was the city that really caused the Second Punic War, caused the major war between Carthage and Rome, caused Hannibal to cross the Alps and to wage war on Rome and to deliver Rome some of its most infamous military defeats. All of that began here in the castle of Xativa. Walking in the footsteps of Hannibal. Next, we made our way to Imilce's tower. Imilce was the Iberian wife of Hannibal. The Roman poet Silius Italicus even claims Imilce gave birth to Hannibal's son in this castle in 218 BCE. The Carthaginian general and Iberian princess were married to cement the alliance between Carthage and the Iberians. It was an alliance Hannibal would need in his coming war against Rome. The views from the balcony are magnificent and offer a vista of the upper castle, along with the town of Xativa and the surrounding countryside. Standing in this balcony, you can almost imagine yourself as Hannibal or Imilce over 2,000 years ago. You may even be standing in the exact spot they once stood. While in Imilce's tower, we stumbled upon an old latrine, and Brendan decided to try it out.
Oh, hey there. Did you know that this was the very toilet that Hannibal took a huge dump in when he got to Xativa? When he first reached the first gate of the castle, he got some irritable bowel symptoms, and he rushed to the second gate, through the second gate, past some guards who reportedly said that they even saw him doing the poopy walk over to this very toilet. And basically, I guess you could say that the Second Punic War almost ended right then and there, but fortunately Hannibal was able to make it to the toilet and release a huge dookie right into this very throne that I'm sitting on.
We are actually walking along the castle walls of the lower castle. Like the soldiers of old, walking in the footsteps of Carthaginians and Muslims and Christians and all sorts of people from centuries and millennia ago. And so we say goodbye to Hannibal's Gate and to the historic castle of Xativa. At this point, we were footsore, overheated, and hungry, but a better day we couldn't have asked for.